What's going on, everybody? This is Billy Truelove with Podcast 1558. I got my guy Matt Bird with me here tonight. Justin Herrera is out saving the world and selling suits to the people. If you didn't know, the Kansas City Chiefs kicked off their 2021 season yesterday at Arrowhead Stadium against the Cleveland Browns with a win, 33-29 in dramatic fashion, as they like to do for us. My entire life, with or without Patrick, this team has found a way to keep things interesting when playing this game of football. So I won't waste much time. Matt, we know we came out with the dub, but how are you feeling about the Chiefs after that game? And let us know how you were feeling during that game.
During the game, was out of my mind a little bit. I didn't like that the defense just kind of seemed to have a complete lack of depth. I know we were down 3 starters, but I mean the rest of those guys just couldn't pick it up for the first 45 minutes for whatever reason. I didn't really like what I saw from the O-line either. I thought pass protection seemed super lax. I thought Pat was running for his life for most of the game. But other than that, I mean, the big three seems in mid-season form. I feel good coming out of the game. I think once we get our guys back, once we get Clark and Tyron back, which it seems like both of them will be back this week, and then once we get Willie Bay back, I think it's going to be rolling, man.
And yeah, and you're right. The big three, it's a hell of a big three. Now, you mentioned Willie Gay being out. What did you think from the, and I want to start this question with, this guy was not supposed to start yesterday. So how did you feel about Nick Bolton's performance?
He looked great. For a rookie playing his first game against a good offense, he looked great. But I think him and Hitchens being on the field at the same time is an absolute liability. And I think only one or the other can be on the field. So we need Gay.
Yeah, no, you're right. Neiman can go. And if we're lining up in a 4-3, I am now very interested in seeing Hitchens, Gay, and Bolton on the field. If Bolton was making a bunch of mental errors throughout the game, his athleticism was able to disguise it to a certain extent. But when when the opportunity was there for him to make a play, he certainly did.
Yep.
So good things coming from Nick Bolton, I would imagine. Now you mentioned the O-line as well. You're right. Pass protection was sketchy at best most of the game, and I don't want to single out one player on that line because I know it's going to take time, but were you talking to yourself during the game at all about Orlando Brown Jr.?
Yeah, because he was getting beat like he stole something. I mean, I know he's one of the best, if not the best pass rusher from the outside in the NFL in Myles Garrett, but man, he did not look good.
I did not think so either, and I tried to keep telling myself it's Myles Garrett and it's a new neighbor, regardless of it being a veteran or not. The whole line has to gel together. I was just kind of going into the game thinking if there's one guy on the line that I'm not that concerned about, I think he's going to have to be on an island by himself. Orlando Brown Jr. is going to, he's going to handle business.
Yeah.
No, he did not. He got his ass whooped most of the day yesterday, I felt. If you're one of those all 22 film guys that want to tell me I'm a complete idiot in the comments, go ahead. But the product is what it is. And that game, like you said, Patrick did not have time a lot. And a lot of that pressure is coming from the ends. Lucas Niang, not favorable returns early on him, but he has to get maybe the most benefit of the doubt here with he needs time with this line. we've got to give him more slack than we're going to give Orlando Brown Jr. because the guy's never played, and it's with new guys. So, we'll see. And he's playing next to a rookie. So, we can't give up on Niang right away, but I think it will do him a ton of good when Mike Rimmers. Rimmers was out there yesterday. I think Rimmers is going to probably start getting more time at right tackle, and it'll be good for Niang to have had, get the experience on the field when he can, and step back and learn when I think the game calls for it.
Right.
Well, for me, right away, just like you, the first 45, 50 minutes of that game, clock time, did not feel good. Obviously, Arrowhead was rocking. We got the fans back. I think nerves were at an all-time high for everyone. The way CBS broadcasted that game, the way Arrowhead was, the way everything felt, the whole entire game for me, there was playoff energy. It felt like a do or die game almost. And I know it wasn't, and if we would have lost yesterday, it wouldn't mean much, but it felt like everything was on the line. During that game, there was a ton of urgency. I felt, or it just felt, everything felt like it needed to be handled with urgency.
Yep.
Then I didn't get that feeling that the Chiefs were awake for the first 45, 50 minutes of that game because there wasn't much energy coming out of them. Not from our D-line, and certainly not from our offensive line. Eventually, that offensive line turns it on there, and it seemed to get more comfortable run blocking, which we know that's going to be their bread and butter early on. That's what they'll catch. But this line's going to have to make its thing pass blocking on this team. That's just what it is. They need to be, if they want to be one of the best lines of football, they need to be good at both, and they'll get there. And I think run blocking, rather, eventually they seem to be the more physical team every now and then, which is easy when it's 5-on-4, which is what teams like Cleveland and Chiefs fans, listen to me. I know what the Buccaneers did in the Super Bowl. It seems like, there's the blueprint. If you can get at them with 4 and drop 7, you're good. And that is correct. That is how you can beat any team in the league. If you can just get to the quarterback with 4 guys and drop 7, yes, you can absolutely win. There aren't many teams in the league that have the personnel that are going to be successful against this Kansas City Chiefs team doing that. The Browns just so happen to be one of them.
Yeah.
And so we kind of got to relive it. Clearly the Browns aren't I don't want to say the Browns aren't as good as the Bucs. We were just far more healthy on the line yesterday than we were 7 months ago. And I think you could have seen a game just as close in that Super Bowl if we've got Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz, and you can put any other ragtag you want in the middle of that line in the Super Bowl, and I think it's different. But I'm not going there right now. Yes, any team is going to win, be able to do that, but not every team has the personnel to do that. And it starts with Baltimore next week. I don't think they have the personnel necessarily to get the constant pressure that Cleveland was able to get yesterday. But we do, you do have to give credit where credit's due. Cleveland is not a bad team anymore. And we know that. We talked about that with Rod Bloom from the Browns Blitz earlier last week. We know that team is good, and they are our kryptonite type of team. Run the ball and play defense and keep Pat off the field. We held Chubb under 100 yards. I know it doesn't feel like it. I know if I just said that and you said, well, huh? He's talking shit. It felt like he ran for 1,000 yards yesterday. We held him to 83 yards on 15 attempts. I know Kareem got in there and got some too, and Chubb was a little active in the pass game, but they were definitely able to do a lot of the things they want to do. Now, that game was as close as it was with Cleveland playing is about as perfect as you could for 45 to 50 minutes of that game, were as aggressive as everyone says you have to be when you play the Chiefs. 2 fourth down conversions in the first half and a 2-point conversion that they weren't going to go for. Had the penalty, they came out and said, no fucking way. We're going for 2 because we have to. They were playing with that playoff urgency I was talking about, and you could just feel it in their play calling that everything was super important. But this isn't the 2018 Chiefs. And clearly some adjustments were made at halftime without Tyrann Mathieu, without Willie Gay, and without Frank Clark, as you mentioned. 3 Chiefs fans, if you didn't think any of one of those guys were important, what do you think now? After that game, what do you think? Ben Niemann on the field running around, he's not a star whatsoever. And when you're going to go against a team that is able to play as simple as they can, as their style is, and be as good at it as they are, that linebacking position group needs to be good. Chris Jones finally woke up in that game and really, I thought, took over. I didn't feel that he was much of it for a big part of the game. Now, I get it. You know, if it were that easy for any defensive player to just be involved in every single damn play, then the single season sack record would be probably 50 or 60. And it's not. It's 22.5 for good reason. And he got 2 sacks yesterday. So I don't want to come down on Chris Jones. And I do think with Frank Clark back, like I said, everything is going to click better on that line. But they have a great offensive line as well. They lose Wills. He goes down, and or Willis. I don't know what his fucking last name is. I don't care. And obviously things got a little easier for us. They had to punt one damn time. Cleveland did in that game, and boy, did it not go well. You know, that is why we've said it on Twitter, we've said it on here. You have to play perfect against this team. Now, and let me reset what I just said. They had to punt twice. They got to punt once. One of which the snap got lost. And I know Cleveland fans are thinking, why the hell? And I was thinking the same thing. It seemed like he had time to pick that thing up and just drop kick it. Send it 20 yards down the field. He's got to know in his head, it's 4th and 13. Or 4th and 14. One of those. You are not getting that, my guy. Nope. I know a lot of Browns fans say, no, this dude is, he's athletic. I love Tommy Townsend too. I think you ain't getting that. Maybe if it's 4th and 1. But, man, you got to play perfect against this team, which they didn't. And the Chiefs, while it didn't look great, like you mentioned, Matt, Tyreek and Travis went off in this game. And it just doesn't feel like it because we were playing from behind the entire game. I definitely liked everything we saw with Pat, Tyreek, and Kelsey. The one thing that jumped out at me, and I'm not sure why this seems so different from last year, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, maybe it's just because it was going against these specific dudes. He looked about half his size. He looked especially small to me yesterday. And I'm not sure. I know he's not a huge dude, but he was able to just be hugged by some parents out there on the field yesterday and put down. He is certainly an open field kind of guy, but I'm starting to think I'm just more comfortable with him in that screen game, in that open field situation. You get him trying to run between the tackles. This line's going to have to get a lot better for him to succeed there. He can get touched and go down. He's a very small dude. I'm a Clyde fan. I hope that he's great. That just jumped out to me that he looked particularly small yesterday, which worries me, but whatever. I again, it's a pass first team. We'll see, and I can't wait to see Jerick McKinnon start to click in this offense. Hopefully, he does there. But I'm gonna end it with this. The Cleveland Browns played an absolutely almost perfect game. Perfect game. And came up short. And you can't point to the refs either. There wasn't any time where it was like, oh shit, the Chiefs got away with that one, or the refs blew this one, or yada, yada, yada. That didn't happen. They made their mistakes. Chubb put the ball on the ground, and they whiffed on that punted, the snap for that punt. And two mistakes, and the whole damn thing flipped over on them. Now, I say that to say this. Cleveland looked mid-season playoff ready. They had the urgency. Baker was about as efficient and sharp as he could be while things were going as the game plan wanted. They can't get much better than that. And, the experts in the world believe that Odell Beckham Jr. may have been a difference maker. And I say, fine. If you're going to give me a hypothetical scenario where Odell Beckham Jr. is the difference maker, then in that hypothetical, give me Tyrann Mathieu, Frank Clark, and Willie Gay also, since we're just bringing in the injured players in this scenario. You guys can get better by one Odell Beckham with Baker as still the quarterback. The Chiefs, on the other hand, looked like shit for most of that game. Looked like shit. Tried to get cute in ways that we didn't need to. Looked like a Super Bowl hangover may actually be touching this team. And we still won. So what I'm saying is, we aren't, and you'll hear this every season, you can't peak early. You cannot peak too early. And we aren't close to peaking. Cleveland peaked in the third quarter of week 1. And Odell Beckham Jr. isn't going to put this team over the top. And I'm not saying that that's if you can just roll and you can stay hot like Cleveland and just play that way all year long, no more injuries, you just stay sharp and healthy, cool, so be it. When you see us, inevitably, again, I would imagine in the playoffs, if things fall correctly in that seeding, we almost undoubtedly, as long as health is on our side, like we're giving Cleveland health on their side in this hypothetical, we will undoubtedly be better on that day than we were yesterday. Cleveland can't do much more to be better. All we have to do is actually just play better.
Yeah.
And we get not one, not two, 3 starters to come back, 2 of which are 2 of the highest paid players on our team. So it's not like I'm saying, God damn, if we could have had a couple more of those second string guys back that we like to flex in from time to time, we better. Tyrann Mathieu is damn near the second most important player on this team. Because Tyreek and Travis and Patrick were here without him and didn't get a ring.
Right.
So I don't want to hear that, no, it's Patrick, it's Travis, it's Tyreek. No, if Patrick is the man, those pieces, he's going to find a way, but he can't play quarterback on defense like Tyrann does, and it showed that we didn't have that leader, that energy back there. Tyrann Mathieu had a day yesterday. He's never had that good of a day not having to play. I'm sure he was getting a DocuSign email from Brett Veach at halftime saying, here's the contract. I mean, it couldn't have played out better for him other than maybe the Chiefs losing. Then he could have really said, I wanted this. Maybe I should be asking for this. But whatever the case, that's really where I'm at. The end of the day, Chiefs fans, we got out of there week 1 with a win against a playoff contender rematch that we know is a good team while we weren't our best. And it's, we obviously have to get better. It's not that it's going to happen on its own, but what I'm saying is we didn't play to our best and came out with a win against a great team. And you can't be down about that. You can, and Browns fans can still feel great about that game because you can get a little bit better, you can get a little sharper here and there, but there weren't many opportunities where it was just, they could have did this, they could have did that, they could have did this, they could have not fumbled the ball twice, but other than that, what more could you possibly ask for? So, Browns fans, this is another meeting that we will certainly be having at some point. But the Chiefs will be far better than that. That's really all I've got for this. We will shut this one down. We will be getting ready to preview Week 2 against the Baltimore Ravens. That one will sure bring the fireworks. Sunday Night Football. Pat gets to go under the lights on the road. It's going to be a good one. So I'm Billy Trulove for Matt Bird's podcast 1558. Follow us at 1558. That's Twitter, that's Facebook, that's YouTube, that's anywhere you can find us. And we will see you next week. Go Chiefs. Holla.